Hello everyone, my name is Anishana and today you are watching Docker web series. As of now, we have successfully completed our 4 topics. If you have not watched the previous videos, then I recommend you to click on I button. Today, we are going to cover our 5th and 7th topic, that is build and run an image as a container and then share image using Dockerhub. In these topics, we have subtopics. So our first topic is create a container with Ubuntu image on the top of CentOS 9 operating system. It means we can create different operating system container. The second topic would be how to create Apache web server. In this topic, we will download the Apache web server package, that is Apache 2, Vim, curl and E-Link package on Ubuntu container. After that, configure Apache web server by create our own directory and then create HTML page inside our newly created directory. And in the last, we will learn how to start, restart, stop our Apache web server. This is what we will going to learn in create Apache web server. Next topic would be we will create an image from the running container. What we have created in the previous steps, just after we will delete the container from which we have created the image. We have the image now. We will create a container from our image and we will notice all the packages are pre-installed. We have also created an image from the file instead of creating an image from the running container. So there are two different ways. We will going to learn both ways. How to create Docker image from the container or from the file. What is image tagging and how to push the image to the Docker repository so that other people can use it. In the lab section, we will create the container from the newly uploaded image from the Docker repo. Begin the theory part first. As of now, we have one virtual machine and in this virtual machine, we have installed the CentOS 9 operating system. And after that, we will remove the container engine from the Docker podman and build and then install the Docker engine. In order to install Docker engine, we use yum install Docker CE, Docker CE CLI and containerd.io. Once Docker installed and running, afterward going to create the container with Ubuntu latest operating system. And this is the command docker container run it --name container1 Ubuntu. For the sake of easiness, we use container1 as a container name. I just use the container1 only here and then we will going to install the Apache web server on this container1. We will log in the container and execute the command apt-get -y install Apache 2, Vim, curl and E-Link. So these are the package we will going to install, and also when we install the container, we also get the IP address from the Docker engine. So the command would be docker container inspect container1 pipe grep -IP address. So it will show the IP address of the container, what is assigned by the Docker engine. So what is assigned by the Docker engine? Configuration of Apache 2 web server. First, we will going to update the Ubuntu operating system and the command is apt-get update and then install the Apache web server and other packages. And the main configuration file would be port conf magic environment variable, we call it as env vats, and apache 2.conf file. These are some directories: modes available, mode enable, conf enable. So these are the files I will explain in my coming slide. The very first one is apache 2.conf file. This is the main configuration file, contains setting that the global to the Apache 2. We need to define the port numbers in the ports.conf file, in which number my web server is running. Maybe we can use 80 or 443 or we can use any other port number. So that we need to define in ports.conf file. We can use the environmental var directory. So it holds the environmental variables are set in Apache 2. Conf available. This directory contains available configuration file. Next, conf enable. Whenever we are enabling any configuration file, we need to create some symbolic links. And if we create any symbolic link inside conf enable directory, we have to restart our Apache web server. Next is mode available directory. Whenever we need to load the new model, So whenever we need to load the new module and also configure those module, in this directory we store all the files and all the symbolic links are available inside this mode enable directory. Here mode enable hold the symbolic links which is pointing to modes available directory. In virtual available, it means virtual site. So all the virtual sites configuration files available inside the site available direct and site available enabled, again it's a symbolic link. So whenever we are creating any symbolic file, we have to restart our Apache web server to make it enable. http.conf file. This is a historical file in Apache 2 conf file was http2.com. In Ubuntu, Apache 2 has all the configuration option. It it was named after the HTTP daemon. So what are the commands we are going to use in order to configure the Apache web server? First, update the Ubuntu operating system container binary files and then install the package with the help of apt-get command and then giving the IP address by giving 127.0.loopback IP address, because every time whenever we are creating a new container it's getting the new IP address from the Docker engine. So we use loopback IP address and then we will going to create a new directory inside where www directory container1 and then we move the directory and then create one index file inside this directory. And in this page I'm just writing here simple, I am running this website on Docker container 1 on Ubuntu operating system, and right after we'll start the Apache 2 server and then we'll go inside the Apache 2 site available directory. As I stated in my previous slide that all the virtual sites are configuration files hold inside this directory, so we will going to copy default file into container1.conf file and then change the document root from where www.html to where www container1. So we will not going to inside this file, but with the help of set command we will update this line, and right after we will add a new line server name equal to localhost and then e2 enable site. So here e2 en is enable site container1.conf file and e2 disable 00. If we are not using this command disable, so whenever we are reloading the our Apache web server it will load the 00 default configuration file. So we have to disable this file 002 and then reload the configuration file Apache server. So let's follow the lab. All these commands we will do in our lab. So let me log in into the VM first. So username is Anish and password is Red Hat, and then switch to root user and give the Red Hat password again. So let me check the service first of the Docker service is running or not. So it is running. That is good. Check the date command if my NTP is running or not. If you observe any issue, so make sure you have NTPD service is working fine or not. You should check. Clear the screen and then execute ls space -a to see if my any container is running or not. So there is no container is running or shutdown mode. So let me create a new container with the name of container1 command. So I'm just doing copy and paste of the command so that it should not be typo mistake. And after that I need to update the binaries, so I'm using apt-get update. So please make sure that in docker 1 VM you were in CentOS 8 machine and in container you are in Ubuntu machine. So as you can see here that it is updating. So it's done. Now the next turn is to install the Apache 2 package with some other packages vim, curl and a-link so that we can configure the Apache web server and also test our Apache web server. And now we need to update the server name to our local IP address. So I'm just putting here 127.0.1 and then create a new directory. As I said in my theory part, I'm creating www container1 directory under www directory, and then let's move to this directory and create a HTML page. As you can see here that there is no file available here. So here I can see that my index file is updated. Apache configuration file, that is etc apache2.conf file, and start the service. So to start the service of Apache, we use service apache 2 start, and then go to virtual site directory, that is site available directory, and then copy the default site. I can show you here that there are two files here. So I'm going to copy 000-default.conf file to enable, and we can also look at this file. So this is my file. So I just need to update the document root from web www.html. So our directory is container1, and then server name is localhost. So I'm just adding two line here, modify this file. So I'm not going to inside this file, I'm just using set command, and then a new line I need to insert after container1 directory. I will show you just after. So server name is my local host name. So let me execute this container file. So as you can see here, where www container1, and then server name is localhost. After that, I need to enable this file. So E2 enable site and disable. As you can see here that it says that server Apache reload, you need to execute this command in order to make this effective. So let me disable the 00 default site file here. It says that okay, I need to reload this file if we want to stop this Apache web server. This is the command, and to on this server we need to execute start. So let me press the control PQ button, and I exit. And if I use docker container ls space minus a, my container is up and running. So let me create a image from this container. In order to create the image from this container, I need to execute this command docker commit, and container1 is my container1 container name, and then Apache 1 hyphen Ubuntu. So I'm just giving this image name is Apache 1 Ubuntu. So commit. So I just add and press enter. So now as you can see here that I have created the image here. So let me show you here docker image ls. So I can see here that image Apache 1 hyphen Ubuntu image is created, and this is the image ID. Now I'm going to delete my container. So we can delete the container1 and rebuild the container from the new image, that is Apache 1 hyphen Ubuntu. So remove the container and check, we will get all the information from the image that we have installed. All the packages what we have installed in the container1 we will see in the new container. So let me remove the container first. So the command is rm space minus f because it is running container1, and then execute the same command, but this time I'm using the different image, that is Apache 1 hyphen Ubuntu, and rest of the other parameters are same. So it means that it will create the container and name it container1, but from the image this. I have already logged in into this container, so I'm just going to start my Apache 2. So it means that my Apache 2 packages are already there, and E-Link package should also be available. And if it's yes, so it says that I'm running the website on Docker Ubuntu 8. So as you can see here that we don't need to install all the packages again. Think about it. We configure this Apache web server in our lab environment, and then create the image and give it to the production team, and production team can create the container from that image. There is one way. The other way is to create the image directly from the file instead of creating the container and then install all the packages. It's a long lengthy process, but the small process is, and easiest way is to create a file. So I will show you in my lab section, in my theory part first, and then we'll do the lab how to create the container from the file. So how we can check the IP address, what IP address is assigned to this container. So the command is inspect. So docker container inspect of container1, and then pipe grep minus I IP address. It will show me it the IP address. And if you remove the section, the output is very lengthy. So the command, so I receive this IP address. So let me ping this IP address from my base machine. Yes, I can ping to this IP address also. And let me use curl http // IP address. I will not get the any page here, or I will get the page here. Okay, so let's check if I can access this web server from the base machine or not. For that, I'm just using curl http // and the IP address is this. Yes, I can access this web page from my base machine. Okay, let's create one new container with the same image with the container 2, and this time I'm using -d option, so I don't want to go inside this container, and I want to create, give me one sec. Okay, so here I'm using docker execute, so I'm just going to inside container 2 and execute this command sed -i and replace from container 1 to container 2 in this index.html file. So there is another way that we don't want to go inside the container and we want to update the file from the base machine. Now we need to start the Apache web server, and also we will upload this file because we may make some entries. So let me reload this file, and also we can check the IP address of container 2, that is 3 IP address it is getting. And now this time I'm going to log in into container 1 and try to ping this IP address. And if I use ping command, so it is not available. So for that reason I need to install the package, and the package name is iputils-ping, and ping this IP address. So yes, I can ping from one machine, from one container to another container. And let me check if I can access the web page of container 2 from container 1. Yes. And as you can see here, I'm in container 1 and I can access container 2. So by default, container 1 having a full rights on container 2. Rights means can have full access to container 2. So let me press Control PQ and then show you here P space -a. Can use ls-a. Both commands shows the same output here, but I need to use docker container ls-a. So both the command shows the same output here. Welcome back, guys. So we created a container with Ubuntu image on the top of CentOS 9 operating system, and we use this command docker container, and the container name is container 1, and we use Ubuntu image. It means we create a different operating system container, and we create Apache web server and download the Apache web server package on Ubuntu container, configure Apache web server and create our own directory. And the command that we use is sed append one new line with server name and the IP address inside this apache2.conf file, and then create our own directory, go inside this directory and then copy the default file, and then again add document root. So S is for substitute, it means replace document root var www.html to document root var www container1, right, inside this container1.conf file. And then again use sed command and append one new line after container1 keyword with server name equal to localhost, and then enable the site container1.conf file and disable 00 default.conf file. After that we create a index.html file, and then how to stop, start and restart the web server. We learned that service Apache to start, reload, stop and restart. These are the commands. Then download the package such as curl2, vim, curl, a-link. So these are the packages that we downloaded. And the command we used apt-get -y, y is to install automatically Apache 2, vim, curl and a-link packages, and create an image from the running container. So we use container commit container1 Apache 1 Ubuntu. So this is the new image name we used, and after that we create a new container from a newly created image. So this is the command we used, and last time if you remember we used Ubuntu image, and now we are using our own image name, that is Apache 1-Ubuntu. Now come to our new topic, that is Dockerfile. So as I said previously, so there are two ways to create the image. One is from the running container, or the other one is Dockerfile. So Dockerfile Dockerfile is a script and having instruction in a form of command. Benefit or uses, it used to organize and helpful for development from start to finish. So syntax of the Dockerfile is Dockerfile may be begun with the hash used to add comment only. So like this, uses from, so this is just a commented line. We can write anything in this line. So command is from, it defines the base image to use to start the build process. When we generate or when we create the image, first we need to define the base image, right? For that we use from. So let's suppose we are using from Ubuntu. So it means we are using the Ubuntu image. After that, maintainer, this is known executing command, declare the author, hence setting the author field of the image. So the maintainer, I'm just writing it my name here, Anish Rana. The fourth command would be run, and it is used to execute the command within the Docker image. It execute run during the build phase. So run apt get update. So whenever we are using the Ubuntu image, first we update the Ubuntu image, right? And then install some packages. So I'm just taking my previous example that we need to install the web server and want to use my own image. So run is in capital and then simple the command. After that, copy, there is another command that we can use, file1.txt, and this file should be available in your host machine where you executing this, where you have put it your Docker file, and you want to copy this file inside var www container1 directory. Copy, if you want to copy multiple files, then you can use file1, file2 and directory name. And how to copy directory? So there is a slash data. So this is the directory slash data where www container1. So this is what we will going to do it in our lab file. So as of now in the theory part we are just discussing how we implement, right? The next command is add. This command is slightly more aggressive than copy command. So add instruction can copy and extract the tar file from the Docker host to the Docker image. So as you can see here, my file.tar and this directory, and when you create the container from this image, you will see all the files inside my file.tar under var www container1 directory. I will show you in the lab. So add command can also download the file from http and then copy into the Docker image. So add is more powerful than copy command. So this is the option that we can download one wallpaper and copy it under slash data directory. ENV, if we want to set the environmental variable, we can use ENV. So password is equal to this is my pass. The seventh command is workdir. So whenever you log in into the container, you will always go to one directory. This is what if you want, so you can use workdir slash data. So whenever you are logging into the container, you will always go inside slash data. If you not set this command, you will go in the root prompt. And then expose, if you want to expose some port number, you can use expose 8080. So it will expose the port number. And ninth command is volume. So if you want to mount the volume, as of now I have not covered the volume topic, so maybe it is bit different at what is volume. So for the moment you can just think about that. I am attaching one new mount point inside this container, and whenever I'm copying any file inside this container, all these files will be stored in some other place, not inside the container. So volume slash vol. The 10th command is cmd, and it specify the command to execute when a Docker container is started up, which is based on the Docker image built from the this file cmd echo my container started. So whenever we build the container from this image, whenever the container start, it will prompt my container started. And how to build a image from Dockerfile? So the command is docker build, the same command, minus t my web server. This is my name of the image, and space and dot. I believe that this space is very near. So this dot indirectly tell you that this is my Docker file in my current directory. So if you use this name D capital and F capital Docker file and execute this command from the current directory where you have created this file, it will take automatically Docker file. So docker container ls. So this is the command. First I need to execute docker container run interactive terminal and detach mode hyphen name and bin bash. I go inside my web server, and this is my container ls. My container is running, and if I look for docker container inspect is the command that we can go the configuration of the container and grab volume. It will show me all the volumes. So I will cover in my when I discuss the volume topic, so we will cover all this stuff. So for the moment you can ignore this output. Now to log in inside this container, so this is the command. So let's go inside the lab and perform all these steps. So what I will do, I will copy the file. So let's jump into our lab section and discuss how we can create this file. Okay guys, so I have already logged in into my VM, and let me switch to root user. The password is simple red hat. First I need to create one slash directory. So I'm going to create slash data directory here and go to inside the slash data directory and create 5 files. Space ltr, yes, all these 5 files are created here, and create one more file for index.html. And now going to combine all these files inside the tar file. So I'm just going to create my file.tar. So now my file.tar is there. Let me create one more file, and now again ls space ltr. So now as you can see here that my file.tar, which include index.html and host file, all host files. Let me remove this file. Now I can see my file.tar and file1.txt. Okay, now it's time to create the docker file. Press I for insert mode, and this is the file. Let me recap here from Ubuntu image 14.0.4. It will take the base image Ubuntu, maintainer name is Anishana, environment variable I'm just going to set here Dubai, and run. This command is used, as you know, that when we upgrade the Ubuntu image, it will ask me the location and time zone, right? For that reason I'm just going to add these 2 lines here so that it will not prompt, it will take automatically from here, and then it will going to install some packages and then add my tar.file. So here I'm using add command here. You will not notice my file.tar inside this directory. You will see all the files that I created previously, and copy, simple copy command, and then it will execute this command. So copy command is file1.txt, and it will be copied under this container, not inside this container, under this directory container1. And after that it will execute, it will change the directory and then run. It will copy 00 default.conf to container1. We are going to create, will copy this file to container1.conf file and then change the document rule, and it will say that where www container1 will be my document root. This is going to change in container1.conf file. After that I'm going to add localhost so that it will not prompt me any error. And then E2 enable is for enable site container1. Disable 00 conf file, my variable. I will show you that here we can also save the variables and directory. When we log in into the container, we will go inside slash data directory and it will expose 8080 and the volume that will be mount my vol. Don't worry about the volume, I will cover in my next topic for the volume. So these are the commands. So please be noted here that every command will create a new container and then it will delete the new container and add the new container. So it means that you will see all these steps in one by one container. So one container will be create. It will be create from the Ubuntu. The next container will be add and it will add the maintainer name here and delete the previous one. That after that it will create a new container from this base image and then add environment and then delete the previous image. So like this you will see at the end only one image that will have all the layers. So whenever we are adding a single line here, it will create a one more layer in the image. And entry point, the last point is entry point. So whenever we will going to log in inside this container, it will first restart the Apache. Okay, so let me build the container here. So before build the container, let me show you here that if there are any localhost, so there is no HTTP services running in the host machine, and in the image I will show you that I do have only three images, right? And now I'm going to build the image. So my image name is my web server. So the command would be docker image built minus t is for tag. So we are going to tag this new image with the name my web server 1 and dot is this dot means the docker file is reside in this directory only. Okay, now you will see that step 1 is from Ubuntu image. It download Ubuntu 14.04. In first step it's pulling the image and different layers are pulling so that it will be download fast as possible, as you can see here. Okay, so now as I have logged in into this VM and it says that the time is not matched, so I have to restart this VM. So this troubleshooting you should also know. So first we need to restart this VM so that it will be up to date. The time is not matched. So let me restart this VM and then we will continue. So now I have rebooted my VM. So let me restart the session again here and press password is reddit. Switch to root user. Go to slash data directory. Before that, let me check the date here, 25th June. It's the correct time. So let me relaunch the command and it should work. So now in the step first, it is downloading Ubuntu image. In step 2, it is adding the maintainer and removing the previous container and added a new container, same as it is. As I said previously, it will create a new container from the base image and then delete the previous one and create the new one. So now my image is built and it says that successfully tagged my web server 1. So let me log in into one container. Let me create one new container from this image. So my new container name would be my new container 1 and it will be created with the help of my web server 1 image. and here I'm using D option, so it will be detached, so it will not going to log in into my container. There is a one specific reason why I want. So let me open here my Docker file here. As you can see here that I have mentioned here workdi is slash data. So whenever I'm logging into this container, my new container one, so I should see slash data as a working directory, and yes, this is the case. So whenever I'm logging into this container, I will always see slash data. Let me go to slash where container one directory and ls space ltr, and here I will see host file, right? But I copied my file.tar. I use add command and added my file.tar, but in this directory I will see host file 123 all the file. It means the add command extract the tar file and copy it here. And let me check one file one.txt. So yes, this is what I have mentioned. And let me curl localhost. I should see the web content. So this is the content I want. Let me control D to exit the container. And how I can check the volume is currently mapped. So inspect is the command and the container name and then grep volume. And here I can see the volume is attached with this container. So now our next topic is how to push the image into Docker repository. So in order to push the image inside the Docker Hub so that you can use it in future. So this is the URL hub.docker.com, and you can log in. You can enter your Docker ID, email ID and password and agree, and it will ask you for validate whenever you have whatever the email ID you will enter here. They will send the one verification code. You need to enter it. Once you're done, you need to log in. Right? So I'm using my username Anish Rana 2001, and if I press, so as you can see here that I have already logged in here, successfully logged in, and you can create a repository here. So I have already created a repository here AR2001. So it means that whenever I'm pushing any image inside this Docker Hub, I will use this path. Okay, so let me log in into here and execute this command here. Let me. So I'm just going to push this image into my Docker Hub repository, my web server one. So before that, I need to log in into my Docker, because in the web I have already logged in to verify you. So it is asking for username and password. So as you can see here, login successfully. So let me tag my web server one. So the command would be docker image tag my web server one, and here I'm going to AR2001. In your case, it would be different. So whenever you are create repository, so you can name it anywhere. So I just copied this one, and after that I need to enter colon and then my image name here. So as you can see here that my new name is appeared here. So tag is my web server one. Okay, and now I'm going to push this image to Docker Hub. So now as you can see here that it is preparing and waiting. So now the data is pushing to there. So now the data is pushed here. So let me verify. As you can see here that it is saying that last post a few seconds ago. If I click here, I must see my web server 1. So this is the image I did testing before creating this video for you. So this is how you can, and if you want to fetch this image, you just need to click here and you need to use this in the keyboard. So let me do it for you here. So let me create a new container. So I'm just going to use the container, my container 2, and the image is this. I'm not sure if it go to Dockerhub or not, so or it will fetch it from locally. So as you can see that it is fetched locally because this tag is already cached in my local machine. Docker image ls, and if I delete this, what happened? Docker image rm minus f, and then delete this. No such image error. Okay. So yes, I need to mention this tag here. It's saying untagged, and I will not see this value. So now this time it is saying that unable to find image locally. The container name is already there. Okay. So let me use container 3. Now this time it is created. So what it did, it downloaded the container again. So let me do it once again for you. And this time I'm going to create a container from this. So it will download the image from the Dockerhub and then downloaded new image from the Dockerhub. So this is how you can push or fetch the image from the Dockerhub repository. I hope this session will helpful to you. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new updates.